Aloha, alafia, and welcome everybody. This is Miloni with Habitual Sages, bringing you the 2022 Habitual Cosmic Review. Welcome to year 2 of a 250-year cycle in this new story of humanity. Um, it's just such a wonderful, wonderful time, these new energy signatures that we are going to be coming into. So this idea of we are just at the beginning, that we are part of a massively bigger story, is something that I'm going to hit on quite a bit during this cosmic review. And the reason is because this year is, like I said, very different energy signatures. They're very prominent and they definitely tell a bigger story, and they are part of a bigger story that is happening. It's that story of humanity and where we are going as a collective. It's definitely a year that will be providing us with opportunities to stand in our individuation, our health, our creative choices, our personal healing, and expressing ourselves in ways that indicates a growth of our own peace of mind, our approach to how we work with lower vibratory energies, our attachments, and ultimately, this is the year of having us exceed even our own expectations. And so I'm super excited for this year and what possibilities it's going to open up for each of us. During this review, I'll be covering notable transits of 2022, as well as breaking down the major transits of each quarter, and then end with a teeny tiny glimpse into 2023 and beyond. So, starting off with notable transits, our notable transits of 2022 is going to be Jupiter in Pisces and then in Aries. So, Jupiter is going to get into Pisces, go into Aries, retrograde back to Pisces, and then end the year completely coming out of Pisces, and for the next 12 years, because that's how Jupiter cycles, and then going into Aries at the end of the year, bringing us into 2023. We will also see a Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces, exciting transit. And we are shifting nodes. So the node shift to the Taurus and Scorpio axis this year. We will have Mars extended in Gemini, which we will get into. We will have 3 Mercury retrogrades, all from air to earth signs. And we're going to end the year with an additional Mercury retrograde that's going to be in Capricorn. But really, the prominent notable transit for Mercury this year is air to earth. And we will experience the first ever Pluto return for the United States. I have goosebumps even just saying that. This is energy that most people, like all people, excuse me, do not get to experience in their lifetime. We don't live long enough for our own Pluto returns. However, countries and longstanding organizations, they do. So this is very exciting. It's going to be exact 3 times this year, but this will be energy that is going to be ongoing for many years to come. All right, let's get started with quarter 1, January, February, and March. So the word of this quarter is perseverance. And the theme that kind of just kept coming up is pressure makes diamonds. This quarter is a lot about holding on. Just hold on. Just breathe. January begins with Jupiter in Pisces and Venus retrograde Capricorn. By mid-January, Venus will be direct and have her third and final conjunction with Pluto and her exit of Capricorn in early March. So we've already been working with these energies in December, and I've talked about these transits in previous videos. You can feel free to check those out. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this video talking through each of those. However, it is notable, what we haven't talked about is Venus's 2022 journey. So Venus and Mars through this quarter are playing this kind of interesting game of tag. They're going to be running into conjunctions as they both transit Capricorn and Aquarius over these 3 months. Part of that will be a few weeks where Venus actually ends up between Mars and Saturn in Aquarius, which is what is called enclosure. And let's just be real, this is a Venus that is constrained. She is not very happy right now, and especially within the first quarter. The last few years, and when you think of Venusian energy, she has this, like, there's this moment of glory that Venus gets, especially over the last couple of years, where she does this major retrograde and then she comes out of it and she's kind of in this exalted position. Now, Venus has a very prominent place to play throughout this entire year because Venus is ruling most of these, or 2 of these eclipses, with her being the ruler of Taurus. However, within this first quarter, she does not get any time in glory. There is no celebration of her trek and her kind of, process that she has gone through Capricorn. And she's not going to get that until April when she meets up with Jupiter in Pisces. And quite frankly, Venus has been doing some hard ass work. So this is the energy and this kind of Venus journey over this first quarter is that thought process of perseverance, pressing forward when you have nowhere to turn, pressing forward with no options. This is that energy of looking around you and going, I do not know where to go. I don't know where to go. I don't see a way to go. I'm not sure what you want from me. It's a really wonderful time to connect in with your inner masculine and have your inner masculine step up and provide that additional level of support. Masculine energy is that energy of take action, right? It's not about, oh, let me sit here and hold space and hold this container. And while there is a part of that, masculine energy is the one that needs to make the decision on the direction forward. I don't know where to go. Okay, we're going this way. And that's going to be this kind of energy signature over the first 3 months. Perseverance, pressure makes diamonds. Because on the other side of this, when Venus finally meets up with Jupiter in Pisces in April, I have full body chills right now. Abundant blessings. Huge, abundant blessings coming in for all of the perseverance that you went through, everything that you're going to be working with and journeying on. There are blessings on the other side. And again, I kind of had touched on it. Venus is supporting these nodal changes with her transit in Capricorn that is currently happening right now as I record this and as we transition from 2021 to 2022. She is supporting us in a lot of healing around our fears and our self-worth, which that happens typically most often in relationships and how we approach our purpose. So if you can see how she is working with you and notice what types of things are coming up for you during this transit in Capricorn, these could be similar things that you're going to be moving through during the eclipse periods that are going to be coming up through the year. They may not be exact because Capricorn is in a different part of your chart than the Taurus Scorpio axis is. However, they could be related some way. So it's just a great point to, just take stock of where you're at and see how those things may tie together later on. Speaking of the nodes, we do have nodal changes. So this is going to begin on January 19th and will take us all the way through July 20th of 2023. And this is the North Node being in Taurus and the South Node being in Scorpio. So the North Node is what we are growing into. The South Node is what we are leaving behind or healing through. It is a death and birth access point, and that is from that Taurus and Scorpio, Taurus signifying birth, Scorpio signifying death. And an astrologer that I personally follow, Sarah Verba, really put this in the most beautiful way. So I'm going to quote her here, which is a doorway with which life energy moves back and forth, as she describes the access point of Taurus and Scorpio, the doorway with which life energy moves back and forth. And I really do think that that is such a beautiful way to understand and work with Taurus and Scorpio energy. When we think back to the last 18 months, we've had Gemini and Sagittarius nodes. So this is the access points that we've been working with. So as you have gone through this growth process, right, what you've grown into, you are taking that growth from this past eclipse season and now applying Taurus themes to it. Taurus themes are stability, value, beauty, ease, self-worth, receiving, many, many more. But in these themes, so all of these learnings and all of this growth that you've done, now you're applying these themes to it and now working through those themes. And then again, noticing what new things come up because you've created space. When we heal, when we open up, we create space for now the new to come in. And there will be 2 partial solar eclipses and 2 total lunar eclipses in 2022, which we will review each of those in the quarter that they are in. This is also a time of us coming into our bodies. So Taurus is all about the 5 senses. So in Gemini and Sag, we were very much in the mind. And now we are in our senses. We are in our bodies. Where are our self-worth standards? This is about claiming our needs based on healthy desires. It's about letting go of trauma cycles, specifically around fears and how you challenge and how you create challenges for yourself, and just knowing when those cycles need to close, how they need to end. And instead of creating challenge, instead creating ease and beauty. And it's really a big graduation into this next phase of life. Simone, with Ripples in the Matrix, we had a conversation about these changes, and she brought up a beautiful point about healthy selfishness and what does that look like. So who knows, maybe in the coming quarter, we can have a discussion around healthy selfishness or do something around that, because there are some really fascinating studies when you head to the Oracle and take a look at what healthy selfishness, and just, Google that. There are some really fascinating studies and essays that have been written about this subject from psychologists and sociologists like Eric Fromm and Abraham Maslow, Freud, Jung. So this may have to be an entire workshop on its own, but I'm just going to throw that out into the universe and see where that lands. But it is worth exploring as we go through this nodal change, is that concept of healthy selfishness. Then we have Jupiter in Pisces. So again, we have talked about Jupiter in Pisces. This is coming up at the end of December when it transitions fully. And I'll just make a couple of notes here. This is spiritual expansion. It is trusting in the road that is unseen and unordered. And that was a really unique word. I was typing this up and this word of unordered came in. And, Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, and Piscean energy can be very not seen, right? There's this veil, it's distorted, if you will. And so that's where, Jupiter is providing this road, but you have to trust. You may not be able to see more than a few feet in front of you, and you just have to be able to trust that Jupiter is taking you in the right direction. But also, it could be unordered, which could be maybe Jupiter takes you in a couple of circles before it directs you to a different path. Or maybe you're going in a square, but then all of a sudden a beeline opens up and you can take a new direction. Really be trusting in what is in front of you and what your intuition knows is right for you. It's a deep remembering that we are part of the whole, and we ourselves are an energy field in our own right that is part of a collective energy field. So we are bigger than we give ourselves credit for. And this is what Jupiter and Pisces can really bring to us, is that understanding of how big we truly are. There's a lot of synergies, divine timing, connections to your higher self and your higher consciousness. The other thing that came, and it was this really amazing kind of insight, is this energy isn't fast. Jupiter in Pisces, even though Jupiter is going to go through Pisces, which for me seems like it's going to go incredibly fast because it's going to be done with its transit in Pisces over the course of this year. But Jupiter in Pisces, the transit itself is not fast. It's not fast energy. You don't move fast at the bottom of the ocean. And this is the image that I got thinking about diving. For those of you that are divers, this may be very visual and very, like, you can really connect with this. But for those of you that aren't, and I will say I am not a diver, I did a lot of this research through the Oracle. Google, thank you very much. But I do know some things about diving. The first being, you don't just like swim all the way up to the top after you've been diving, right? There's this process to get back to the top. Also, you don't move as fast underwater as you do on land. Water is thicker than air, and you have scuba gear on, you have all this other stuff. So when you're diving in the deep ocean, which is what Piscean energy is, it's not this surface level ocean, it's this deep ocean. You don't move as fast. You're not like gonna, Usain Bolt underneath all of that water, right? Yes, you can move, but it's just not in a very fast manner. Also, when you ascend, again, like I talked about, it's not quick. There are steps and levels that have to be hit to safely come back up from a dive so you don't cause your own body harm. And that is really Jupiter in Pisces. That is a beautiful analogy and way to look at Jupiter in Pisces, is this energy that comes in, this unforeseen and unordered road that you're going to be walking down. It may feel slow. It may not feel like you're moving very fast. That's okay. That is by design. Allow that to happen. Then January marks our first Mercury retrograde of the year. So January 14th to February 4th, Mercury will go from 10 degrees of Aquarius back to 24 degrees of Capricorn. When it stations, it will be conjunct Saturn and square Uranus. So that's when it stations retrograde on January 14th. So there is this big energy signature there. And when it stations direct, it will be conjunct Pluto. That's at 24 degrees of Capricorn. So, I'm not going to dive into each Mercury retrograde. We can do that as part of the Habitual Cosmic review over the month, and the weekly reviews I do on my Patreon. But I will say a couple of very really cool, interesting highlights that Mercury is going to go through over this year. So first off, Mercury goes from air to earth in each of his retrogrades. That is not including the one at the very, very, very end of the year, but the three main ones that we're going to see throughout 2022. He has a trine or conjunction with Pluto for each retrograde, and he interacts with the sun on each retrograde. So this is a super lovely and supportive Mercury season for us. And that is very, very exciting as we go through these quarters to just remember that Mercury is supporting us. It's supporting our flow. It's providing us opportunity. He is coming in for, yes, transformation and change and mental reprogramming. However, it is productive. And he is also going to be reminding us to slow down and apply. And that is incredibly supportive and can be very, very great when you see where he's going to be retrograding during some of these other transits. It's going to be a really great mental check in with ourselves. All right. And then the very last thing for the quarter is our first of 3 exact Pluto returns. That is going to be at 27 degrees of Capricorn, February 20th. And I am using the American Sibley chart for July 4th, 1775 at 5:10 p.m. in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for these degree points and dates. So again, no human can experience a Pluto return. This is going to be the first for the United States. And Pluto in Capricorn in the American Sibley chart is actually in the USA's second house. So I'm going to take just a moment and talk through that a little bit because it's, if you're not really bought into all of the astrology or anything, when you start seeing synchronicities such like this, it's kind of hard to not be like, whoa, stop it. This is a real thing. So, first of all, Pluto and Capricorn in the second house is what I think of as the price of survival. What are our prices for survival? What is the price of security, of self-sufficiency, of material goods? And really, this brings up a lot of fears around survival, around lack, around our earning power, around our security. It's being very underwhelmed. It's also about obsession, desire for control. And if you think about the United States' history as a whole, when it talks about what was its price for survival, what did the USA have to pay to survive? And then when you start thinking about some of the energy signatures of Pluto, Capricorn in the second house, thinking about all of those words I just said, plus some of the positive energy signatures, which is accomplishment, resourcefulness, practicality, protectiveness. It's very aligned with the United States as a whole, its history and how it's become what it's become. I do feel as though a lot of this Pluto return energy has started to show up. It's not like, oh, February 20th, ding, ding, ding. This is your first, awakening to Pluto. This has been energy that's been showing up over the last couple of years in preparation for the Pluto return, to be exact. It's really, to me, a stopping point along our journey. Remember, 2 years of 250. This is a long-term journey. We are a very, very small part of a very, very large cosmic map. And this is just like one of those points in it. Now let's head over to quarter 2, April, May, and June. All right, April and May bring us incoming energy. Yes. April showers bring cleansing. If you notice here, I did not have June on here, and it's not that June isn't going to have any transits or that there's not any like super notable transits. However, the real story of this quarter is April and May. June, like a lot of things start April and May and accumulate or finalize in June. So June is really like that energy signature of, okay, we're integrating. We're getting ready for the next quarter, which the next quarter is quarter three's got a lot of very, very interesting and prominent energy signatures in it. So June, not that it's not important, but April and May really steal the show here. So this is where our rewards for our perseverance come in from. This is where our diamond has been created. We've had breakthrough, expansion is here. Delays are no longer. Thank you very much. And this is where we see Venus free. Venus is free and having her like 2 to 3 week moment with Jupiter. It's a deep cleansing that is allowing the rewards to come in. It's this kind of like showering, this eradication of the gunk that we've accumulated over the quarter as we've been doing our perseverance. Like if we talk about it in that insight of a diamond, diamonds don't just pop out of the ground like they look on a ring, right? They have to be polished. They have to be cleaned up. They have to be, molded into what you see when you get it on a ring or a piece of jewelry or, in a raw diamond state. Like April's that raw diamond that is now in the process of being cleaned up as we get through May and June. So, first things first, April is huge. We have our Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces. I am super, super excited about this. So first off, at the very beginning of April, Mars conjunct Saturn in Aquarius at 22 degrees. I put that in here because it is significant as we get into Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces, because the energy signature of Mars conjunct Saturn will lead us into Jupiter conjunct Neptune, 23 degrees of Pisces, which begins on April 12th. So these two conjunctions are not a day conjunction. This is a solid, call it maybe a week each of energy signatures that we're going to be working with. So I'm going to talk about Jupiter conjunct Neptune in two different ways. First, collectively, then personally. So from a collective perspective, Jupiter conjunct Neptune has this energy signature of a puppet show. It's this, hey, look at what my left hand's doing, so you can't see what my right hand's doing. And it's an incredible energy signature that is like exemplified by the word but. But. B-U-T in capitals, in bold, underlined. But. So it's this moment in time collectively where we could be given or shown or aware of something great. Oh my gosh, this is huge. This is wonderful. Oh, this is what we have been waiting for. But inserts itself right there. That is not a statement. Oh, this is great and wonderful. There's no period there. This is great and wonderful, but what are we losing to gain what is so great? That is Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces. What do we lose to gain something amazing? And not that may not be exactly what needs to happen. It's an awareness that needs to be there. Because again, remember, Neptune in Pisces is very much that, veil. It's the distortion. So if you're aware, that's awesome. You may then fully sign up and off you go. But you need to be aware that there is this. But again, don't fall victim to the puppet show. Don't fall victim to the, oh, I only saw what was happening to the left hand. I didn't see anything that was happening over on the right side. And there's a lot of themes in with Jupiter conjunct Neptune around reality and what reality truly means. So I know in the tech world, if you follow the tech world, there is a lot of talk around virtual and augmented reality, incredible Jupiter conjunct Neptune and Pisces themes. Anything that can be really enchanting is a really lovely word for Jupiter conjunct Neptune. Anything that's artistic and creative. These are some themes that we could see in a collective space where we have these really enchanting virtual realities that come out that's like, ooh, look at how cool this is. And again, absolutely, it could absolutely be very forward thinking. It could move humanity forward by leaps and bounds. But what are we sacrificing for that? What are we losing for that? What types of adjustments need to be made in order for those things to be fully integrated in humanity and have its space here? So the other thing collectively is that, again, we talked through this. Neptune in Pisces is that deep sea energy, and it can be incredibly intoxicating to be in the deep sea. There are plethora of tales about the deep sea, about siren songs. It is truly the allure of Pisces. And Pisces in its own right has an allure, this magnetic energy, some people are very drawn to the sea. It's this magnetism that the sea has. And that's just Pisces alone. Then you add Neptune and you are just in the sauce. You are in all the sauce. So Jupiter has this way of expanding that. So just be aware of intoxication. And intoxication does not necessarily mean physical intoxication. You can be intoxicated by a lot of things. You can be intoxicated by your dreams. You can be intoxicated by, this reality that you're creating for yourself and not necessarily seeing what is all happening around you, right? That's that intoxication is that the fuzziness around the edges. So that is collectively what we could be seeing during this time. From a personal standpoint, this is going to be working with the area of your chart that you have at this degree point. And it's going to be this emotional expansion of the truths of wherever that house lies, right? It's going to be uncovering what those truths are for you, seeing beyond the illusion of the truths that maybe you've told yourself or other people have told you. It's a lot of beneficial developments personally, wherever this falls within your natal chart. And the one thing that, this Mars conjunct Saturn energy, this is that growing and maturing of Mars. Mars has a very prominent energy space throughout 2022 because he interacts with all of the outer planets. So it's this requirement of Mars to grow up, to mature, to gain wisdom from each of these outer planets as he interacts with them. And with Saturn, he is conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. So Mars in Aquarius itself is this confidence, right? He has this confidence to him about his path, about who he is, and about the actions he wants to take. And as Saturn comes into play, there's this wisdom of, okay, let's place structure around that independent nature you have. Let's not be so stubborn or controlling. Let's use your idealistic nature, this independent nature that you have, to create change that is beneficial. And not only that, but intelligent. And not just whimsical, not just on this whimsy, right? Not just something that has no lasting power. Let's make it last. So that can be a little bit of how Mars and Saturn will lead us into Jupiter and Neptune with this, okay, well, I have this independent nature. I have this need for change, and I'm growing and maturing in this area on what that looks like. And then personally, Jupiter and Neptune comes in and goes, okay, so what's that truth mean now for you? What's uncovering for you? Let's look beyond what these kind of illusory figures that have been out and around you, and let's bring in beneficial developments to keep you growing in this way that is beneficial and intelligent, and this change pattern that you are in. Then on April 30th, we have our first solar eclipse in Taurus. And I will just say this eclipse season is big. There is so much energy around every eclipse. It's going to be wonderful. It is super expansive. There's a lot of movement in each of these eclipses. So with this one being conjunct Uranus, and then Venus, who is the ruler of this eclipse, is conjunct Jupiter and Neptune at the same time. This is like, I just got this huge image of one of those gigantic slingshots, and you are in the slingshot. You are being pulled back, and the universe is just letting go, and you are flying forward. And you're flying into, and what is like coming at you, what you're being slingshotted towards, is all of this space that you created during the first quarter through your perseverance. All of the work that you did in the first quarter, your December diligence, all of that is what you get slingshotted forward to. There is a lot about trust in this moon. Trust, 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 trust. And that's kind of a good word for April, trust, right? Then we have our second Mercury retrograde that will happen May 10th to June 3rd from 4 degrees of Gemini to 26 degrees of Taurus. This is make plans and commitments. Easy, easy. Then we have our partner to the solar eclipse, our lunar eclipse at 25 degrees of Scorpio on May 16th. This will be square Saturn. It will also be trine to Mars and Neptune, which are conjunct, because Mars and Pluto are the rulers of this eclipse. And so this lunar eclipse will also be sextiling Pluto. So what that is in kind of an eggshell is polarity. It's this interesting polarity of non-chaotic endings from a personal perspective. These are endings that are happening. They're not chaotic. They're very beneficial, very rewarding. They're with ease and grace. But here's our but again. It's a changing of the guards collectively, which, depending upon where you are at in your personal journey, could be chaotic. So it's this very interesting polarity point of this could be very non-chaotic for some and very chaotic for others, or very chaotic from a collective, but non-chaotic from a personal. So it's this very interesting polarity, and it is a big reset energetically. It was very interesting. The image that I got for this eclipse was the image of birthing. No matter which way you look at it, think about birthing, whether it's a chick cracking an egg and coming out of an egg, or literal birth of human or of a mammal. There is a placenta that goes around, or the gunk, the energetic gunk around the face of mammals or of chicks or whatnot, that has to be cleared away in order for that new being to breathe, to inhale, to kind of wipe away the birthing process, so that way you can move forward in the earth and move forward in this new reality that you are in. So that was really it's like this clearing of the energy off the face. I keep seeing the face, like around the eyes, around the nose, around the mouth, and allowing that energy to be cleared so you can breathe again. And then we have Jupiter goes into Aries. So he will be there for a little bit. We're going to get a taste of Jupiter in Aries, and then he will retrograde back to Pisces until the end of the year. He will complete his transit in Pisces, which we'll talk about in Q4. So Jupiter in Aries goes in on May 10th. Let me just tell you, this is the energy that we want Jupiter to be in. I love this Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces. I think it's a very interesting energy signature. I'm really excited to play in that space. But Jupiter in Jupiter in Aries, excuse me, is the energy. This is say yes energy. This is like, man, for the love of all things, do not get lost in the whys during Jupiter in Aries. This is not the time to have analysis paralysis. This is go time. This is really, really big go time. Say yes energy. Fun fact, Nike's slogan, just do it, was actually brought forth during a Jupiter transiting in Aries. So just do it, Nike. That is Jupiter in Aries, 100%. Again, do not get lost in the analysis paralysis. Do not get lost in the whys. Work on that now. If you know that you have analysis paralysis or you want to question everything, work on that now, so that way when you get there, you are able to take advantage. And my favorite kind of quote from Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy, which I feel sums up Jupiter in Aries: kick names and take ass. All right, let's head to Q3. July, August, and September. Pivot. I cannot get, when I think about this quarter, I cannot get the Friends episode out of my mind with the couch. This is our journey of success. Q3 is the journey of success. Success is a journey, period, dot. And we are going to see that. I'm just going to call this out. August is the whole show. August is the show, period, dot. You can use July and this Jupiter and Aries energy to focus on your journey of success, but be ready for August. Be ready for that pivot in August. And when I saw August and thought about the word pivot and the journey of success, it all had to do with August. Has nothing to do with July and September. So I'm just going to get it out of the way. Second of 3 exact Pluto returns for the US, July 12th. There you go. You're welcome. Now let's talk about August. All right. August begins, and this is one of 2 T-squares that we will have. But August begins with a fixed sign T-square. Mars and Uranus are in Taurus. The Sun is in Leo, and Saturn is in Aquarius. So I'm going to just break down T-squares real quick. T-squares are a battle of the cosmos in a way. So there is this, kind of this tension happening, combativeness happening, aggression happening. It literally looks like a T. When you look at the chart, you can definitely tell why it's called a T-square. And it's it's always in the same energy signature. So it's either going to be in a fixed signs, cardinal signs, or mutable signs. This one is in fixed signs. So what you are quote unquote battling is stubbornness and inflexibility. Look, I'm a Leo, totally me, right? Totally fixed sign, stubbornness and inflexibility. I get it. What becomes and how you work with T-squares is you want to look at where the square is, like what is the planet being squared, and that becomes the point of mediation. So Mars and Uranus in Taurus is the planets that are squaring the Sun in Leo and the Saturn in Aquarius. They are our mediators. They experience the most pressure during this T-square, but they are the ones that guide us through it. So Mars and Uranus is active amplification of shock and awe. Really, really easy way to put it. Active amplification of shock and awe. So this is how August starts. It is dynamic right away. August 1st, Mars conjunct Uranus at 18 degrees, also conjunct the North Node. This is that pivot. It is loud and clear. If you've never seen the episode, definitely watch the Friends episode. It all of the analogy for this time. August 1st is sudden and immediate action. One astrologer put it like this, and I will quote here: amplifying the will to act while distorting the perspective. Beautiful quote for Mars conjunct Uranus conjunct North Node. Watch your impulses. If you have any points or aspects between 18 and 22 degrees in the fixed signs, I am a 19-degree sun in Leo, so this is hitting me. You are lit. This is litty energy for you. Take it, go, run, create, do what you have to do with it. Pivot, journey of success, move. Then we have Mars entering Gemini in August, where it will stay until January of 2023. Yes, you heard that. Mars will be in Gemini from August to January of 2023. He will be retrograding in Gemini, which we will get to in the next quarter. And this is Mars in Gemini is an energy of like being in multiple directions at one time. So, or let me rephrase that too. Your energy is being called in multiple directions at once. You want to take action in multiple areas at once. You want to do things multiple times. It's this like multiplicity is a very good word for Mars and Gemini. And it's really about grounding. This is how you can calm the brain. A lot of grounding with Mars and Gemini is very, very beneficial if you do not have a meditation practice, or if you do, if you're used to meditation, but maybe it's not a habitual thing. This might be a wonderful year to start to have a meditation practice or a habitual meditation practice. So that way, when we get to August and we get to this extended Mars and Gemini, you already are setting yourself up for that grounding, that calming of the brain. And you can use the Mars and Gemini energy in an incredibly productive way. So actions that can be taken during this transit might have a lot of duality involved. So you may be presented with two options, one of them being in alignment, one of them being out of alignment, one of them having a higher vibratory energy, one of them having a lower vibratory energy. Really watch your body. Watch your body, your movement of said body, and the things that you do with said body. Watch driving cars, watch, I don't know, there can be this like again, you want to move in two different directions at once. So that could show up for you. So you're like, oh, let me go over here. And then you quickly are like, no, wait, I need to go over here. And you twist an ankle or something of that nature, right? That's just an example. But there could be a lot of multitasking that you want to take on, a lot of inconsistencies that end up showing up. So just act with clarity. That's where meditation, calming of the brain, grounding comes in from, and just plan to do things twice. It is what it is. Writing a lot could be very, very useful. Just any sort of writing practices could be really, really useful because you do want to watch your words with Mars and Gemini. So writing things first before maybe speaking them can help you provide that level of clarity on what you really want to say. Mercury retrograde. Here we go. Libra to Virgo. We have Mercury retrograde September 9th through October 2nd, 8 degrees of Libra to 24 degrees of Virgo. This Mercury is giving us the ability to go back and review things that still need to be taken care of that was either missed or had to be put in your parking lot. And that's really the signature in September, right? Is all right, let me rearrange things. Let me go back and review. Let me put things in these new places that they need to be. Very, very Virgo energy, balancing very Libra energy. Let me balance all of these things that happened in August, and let me recalibrate, right? So that will end our quarter 3, and we will head into quarter 4, October, November, and December. And the word for quarter 4 was intentionality, and the theme, end the year with a bang. End the year with a bang. Intentionality is key. We start off with an October 25th solar eclipse at 2 degrees of Scorpio, conjunct Venus. This is, again, Venus has a very prominent place in 2022. And while it may not have been this exalted, like, yes, we can be in these Venusian energies and I can lay on a, just lay out and be fanned and eat grapes. Venus has done some really amazing work this year. And this is what this solar eclipse is really about, is what has she learned? What has these Venusian energies brought you this year? It can be a rebalancing of the masculine and feminine energies within you. This is intentional new soul growth with the passions and desires that are yours, not anybody else's, not influenced by others. This is your passion and desire. It is an opening up. It is the beginning of a fool's journey. If you follow Tarot, that's kind of that fool card energy. It is intentionally jumping into the new, intentionality with it. Then Mars on October 31st, of course, Mars will station retrograde at 25 degrees of Gemini on Samhain. Of course, the Sabbath New Year. So that is going to be really interesting, very cool energy to work with on that Sabbath. And the last time that he was here in Gemini doing a retrograde was 15 years ago. So that's 2007, 2008. So you can maybe go back and see what kind of energy you were going through then, see how you've grown. We are having a natal Mars return for the United States as well during this time. Mars will station retrograde, square Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, and that will continue for quite a few weeks. Mars will also join the full moon in an exact conjunction as he retrogrades in Gemini. And all of this is, be intentional about what you want, be intentional about your body and mind connection to get things done. Then we're going to move into our lunar eclipse, our 11/8. So that's November 8th lunar eclipse at 16 degrees of Taurus, conjunct Uranus. I need to take a little drink here because wait until you hear about this lunar eclipse. Hold on. All right. This is where our other T-square of the year comes in. We have another T-square fixed sign. It happens on the lunar eclipse as part of the lunar eclipse. So let's just lay out this lineup. We have the South Node, Mercury, Sun, and Venus, all conjunct in Scorpio. We have Saturn being our square in Aquarius. And then we have Taurus conjunct Uranus. Taurus, excuse me. The moon conjunct Uranus over in Taurus with the North Node. So, yay, here we go. Wow. Like, it's just overwhelming even just talking through this. So, we are going to look to Saturn to bring resolution for the T-square, right? When I thought into this, now again, this is actually like, it is a wow energy in not the way of like, wow, oh my gosh, woo. Again, this is those Taurus Scorpio themes that you may have to work through. Like, don't be triggered by a woe. A woe can be very good. Think about it in the, you know, growth mindset way. When I got the image of this moon, it's just there's so much happening in one chart is where the woe comes from. And what I saw and was given the analogy of was those magic 8 balls that we used to play with. And, you know, when you used to like shake the 8 ball and ask the question, you turn it over, you didn't get the answer that you wanted. So what would you do? You'd keep shaking it until the answer you wanted showed up. Well, it doesn't really work that way. And we have to, during this moon, be okay with the first answer we get, even if it's not the one that we want to hear. Even if it's not the one that we are like, we can even fathom right now. This moon is all about doing things differently. It's about stretching beyond your capabilities, stretching or what you perceive, of your own capabilities. It's about getting out of our own way. The openings for the arena of finances is huge during this moon. They are foundational openings of things that will stay around because we've got this Saturn here. This is like sticking energy, but you have to be open to it. You can't look at that 8 ball answer and go, nope, that's not for me. I can't handle that. Or, oh, that's not what this Taurus Scorpio nodal shifts are working with us, right? Like that is very like that's that lower vibratory energy that we need to get through. Yes, you can. And these financial openings are like, you have to be open to your power because they're all around and revolve around your gifts, right? So this could be something where, I've been trying to do X for this year and nothing's really paid off. And then bam, this lunar eclipse comes in and all of a sudden this financial abundance opens up because you've been diligently working towards that financial abundance to show up for you. So it is a woe moon. I am very excited to get to that point. I love working throughout the year, but I love when there's these really dynamic points to get deeper into them. So that will absolutely happen as we progress throughout the year. We do have in October another Saturn square Uranus. So yes, we are done with Saturn square Uranus exact. No, we are not done with Saturn square Uranus within 2 degrees of each other. 2 degrees is still damn close where we're going to be feeling this energy. It's going to be a ramp up. It's going to peak in October. And this is just all of what we've worked through this year of 2021. How firm is your foundation? You know, how is the establishment with, you know, how, from a collective perspective, how is the establishment and the rebellion, how are those two energy signatures playing out with each other? You know, it's the undercutting of acts of government. It's, you know, it's just all of these themes in 2021 that we've worked with is still going to be present in 2022. And we're going to have this kind of last final meetup of these two within 2 degrees of each other. And then right around the solstice, sometime during Yule, either December 21st or 22nd, Jupiter is going to leave Pisces for good. It's the end of it's, you know, won't be there for another 12 years. And he is going to have support from Mars. And this is a really, like, I could only think of it as an incredibly poetic ending. It is a poetic ending to Jupiter leaving Pisces. Here he is with Mars and this support and this energy push, you know, bringing Jupiter out of the deep water into the sunshine, into Aries, into Mars's rulings, you know, the sign that Mars rules. And it's such a lovely, lovely way for Jupiter to end his cycle in Pisces and start his cycle in Aries. And then we have at the very, very end of December, we have Mercury, our last Mercury retrograde of the year. This retrograde is all in Capricorn. So I looked at this as a Mercury kind of resetting himself for 2023. He goes from 24 degrees of Capricorn back to 8 degrees of Capricorn from December 29th through January 19th of 2023. He is also conjunct the third Pluto return, which happens on December 28th. So Mercury won't be retrograde. He'll be stationing retrograde during that exact Pluto return for the US. And then the next day will actually go retrograde. And then Venus actually has a little piece to play as well on during that whole time frame. So that is kind of how we end out the year. Now, looking into 2023 and beyond, just, you know, a little bit deeper into what some of the outer planets are going to be doing as we think about, again, we are a small part of a very large conversation and picture that is happening. Oh, Neptune spelt wrong. Excuse me for that. So we have Saturn and Neptune is going to start what is called a co-presence, which means they will be in the same sign together for the next 5 years. So they will be co-present in Pisces as well as in Aries. And this is the energy signature of, all right, Neptune, I see you with these dreams. Did they pass the Saturn test, quote unquote? Are they real? Can they be built? Can they be sustained? Can you make what you imagine real? That is that energy over the 5 years that we'll be able to be working with. And I got the very clear picture of the history of Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse was, you know, that story, you know, regardless of your feelings around Walt Disney or the Disney family or whatever that is, the story of how Mickey Mouse came to be can really align with Saturn Neptune co-presence and how we take what we imagine and make it reality and make it pass the Saturn test. So that could be something that, you know, you may want to look into, that kind of analogy and that history of Mickey Mouse and imagination to get into some energy signatures there. Plus, we have Pluto and Aquarius. So over 2 years, Pluto is going to go and scrub across this 0-degree border of Aquarius, and we'll play around in the end of Capricorn, and we'll go back and forth and back and forth. So that will be over a 2-year time frame. And then I know that this is, 2025. Believe me, again, we are 1 year in a very large and many year story. 2025, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus will all be in new signs permanently. 2025 is brand new energy signatures. And then we are preparing for the USA's 2027 exact Uranus return. However, we will also feel those when Uranus gets to Gemini in 2025. So that is the entirety of what I had for me. For you, excuse me. Thank you so much for joining me for this 2022 Habitual Cosmic Review. If you found value, make sure that you like and subscribe so you know when more content is available. And if you feel others would value, please feel free to share away. My offerings over 2022 will definitely grow and expand as I practice and put into practice all of what I just talked about and remain open to what the universe provides. But to start, I hope that you join me on my Patreon page. I do weekly Habitual Cosmic reviews there, Sabbath information, exclusive Habitual Tarot readings, and so much more. And that is only for $3.33 per month. So if you've never gone to Patreon, or if you are a Patreon subscriber already, I would love for you to join me over there. And again, it's just $3.33 per month. On YouTube, I'm going to continue to do the Habitual Cosmic reviews for the month, as well as the moons, along with Habitual Tarot for each zodiac sign on every moon. So those will be continuing throughout next year. I'm also going to be doing some astrology and tarot workshops during the year, so stay tuned for that. If you are interested in joining some of my workshops, you can feel free to head over to my Linktree. I will put that link in the description box below and sign up for my email list to know when those things are coming out. And that Linktree link is also how you can find out about how to book private astrology and tarot readings with me. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Have a wonderfully empowering and strong finish to 2021. And I will see everyone as the Gregorian calendar turns into 2022. Bye.